Hello, all you beautiful souls out there, whether you're feathered or if you got scales, if you got hair, hooves, if you're rooted, leafy, calving, or otherwise. Just wanted to tune into you and share another beautiful insight. Today it's raining out, so it's quite a beautiful day to be able to talk to you and share some ideas about something that I've really been thinking about for a while. And that is, when you're looking at the sunset, or if you're running, or if you're creating, or art or otherwise, what moves you? What really penetrates you to motivate you to move? That's today's beautiful sharing, movement. I want to talk a little bit about what motivates you to move. What motivates you to move can be extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. And what I mean by that is your inner voice that comes out. We were talking a little bit about instincts before. Sometimes can be either, manipulated, or it can be enticed by outside influences that you didn't know about. In the morning you wake up, you have to go to work. There's sometimes a very real experience of going through the grind, and every day you wake up, you have a motivation to do something, right? Whether to get something done at work, you have these little, maybe you certainly reward yourself throughout the day. Maybe it's a cigarette break. Maybe it's all these other things that really get you through. And a lot of that can be coping skills. Coping is interesting because as a movement, it's really just your repeated patterns, of being able to manage or to regulate yourself into finding ways for the mundane. That repeated pattern of doing something over and over again, I think sometimes can really burn us out, but also have an effect upon us through our movement. We become tired, we become depressed, we become unaware of our aches and pains. And so it's really important, I think, to be able to move some of that stress out when we all are dealing with just the mundane. Now, a couple things I want to talk about is, first of all, the body is this amazing physiological understanding, kinesthetically, being able to move. We have this hand. Look at that. I can move it. I can move my lips, my tongue, smile. All those things are really beautiful gifts. They're a chance for us to understand our connection to environment, our connection to self, or our connection to our bodies, and our connection to all things. People go above and beyond with the expectations what their body can do. There's the Ninja Warrior now. That's amazing. Those guys train really hard. A lot of them are, ex-gymnasts or rock climbers. And they spend a lot of time being able to work on their bodies in specific muscular movements and patterns, that are repeated time and time again. And then it becomes really this idea of the mind. It's being able to be so focused on how far you can push your body and move beyond the lactic acid and your fingers just cramping and you fall off the thing. That's part of, being able to sense your inner being, your inner light, to shine through and to see what it can do, which is it's just a miraculous thing to be able to feel that. Now, of course, there's involuntary movements. Sometimes there's things that happen, our heart beating, which, like I always talked before, is the universe being able to talk through us and use that movement to feel our essence and to be able to grow from that. But another thing that I've really noticed is that movement can be so much more than just the idea of the physical. A lot of it's the emotional. What are you holding on to? What are you allowing to drive what motivates you? Are you going to the source of your emotions at times that, emotion is basically something in motion, right? Whether you're sad, you're hungry, you're bored, you're scared, you're lonely, you're invigorated, you're grateful, you're joyful. All these things are these emotions that we have to allow us to grow. They're actually a beautiful opportunity for us to share a light of ours and a learning for us to be able to see how these emotions may spark us, how they might drive us to actually creating action. Now, some of you, for a long time, maybe have not tuned into this. You haven't had a chance to see what it's like to have, your emotions move through you, because they are just moving through, just like clouds in the blue sky. Your omnipresence, your joy of being is always there. Even if you're sad, you can still be joyful in being in the moment, of being alive, of breathing. But, as you move forward, as you start to really understand what movement can be, it's no longer just the essence of the physical. Sometimes it's gestural. Sometimes we have these things that we don't even know. They're inculturated into our systems. They're taught to us by our parents. Sometimes we do things and we say things and we don't need to even move our mouths, right? Sometimes we create a visual gesture, a movement that says a lot more than, of course, what our mouths could say. And I know that I just went through a gambit of that, but it's really important to see how these gestures really start to take on a different life. They start to be able to show others how we're feeling, and sometimes we don't even know. We're not conscious about those movements. So I want to know, what are our blind spots? What's the emotional blind spots that we have that may be holding us back, that may be restricting our movement forward? A couple things that you might do, that you might be doing in your life, may be inhibiting that movement. Granted, they are sort of these awakeners of feelings. Many people I've seen in my family, or even throughout my lifetime, I've noticed that they use alcohol or drugs or psychotropics or psychedelics or many of these hyper, stimulating drugs to help them feel alive sometimes. Sometimes they're not grounded enough or don't really understand their emotions, or really afraid of their emotions, to not be able to feel what it's like to experience them. So they're very afraid. And I want to ask you, are you engaging your fear, or are you engaging your love? The love for yourself, first of all. Those emotions are there to help teach you and to move you through something. That's why they're emotions. And most people either cling to them sometimes. We get sad, and I know there's an overwhelming, certainly dark pit, dark hole that we all go down. Not all of us, but all of us have felt some form of depression, or maybe something that's not right or congruent with our world. So we get upset. We get agitated. Something is emotionally moving us. And when that happens, we have to engage. We have to feel empowered. We have to grow beyond this, just the emotional part of what's moving us, and really take action to go beyond it. Really go through those emotions and start to dial in on them. Let them penetrate you. Yes, they're scary at times. Yes, it feels very heavy, so intense. But you know what? You have a chance to go beyond them. You have the power and the insight and the ability to go beyond the emotional part and start feeling your beingness, and start acting upon the things that you really want to create in your life.